Hey guys, in this video I quickly wanted to go over my Firebird's Archon setup for Solo GR, Group GR, and Torment 10. So I'm basically just going to go over the skill and the gears, and that is about it. But for noting how Chantoto's Wave of Destruction works is it's going to be the element damage type, this is important to know, of your highest on your gears. So in this case I have 20 Fire, 19 Arcane, I'll go over exactly why in a second. But as you can see, I have a red Chantoto's Pulse because I have 20% fire, which is thus going to proc my Firebird set and ignite mobs, which without that you would do basically no damage relative. But also your Archon, it is going to scale off of your Archon's rune, so in this case it's Arcane. If I was using Combustion it would scale off Fire, so it is deceptive in the sense that this fire damage is actually not increasing the damage of my Wave of Destruction at all, but the arcane damage is. So fire damage only useful for changing the element type, but it's going to be scaling off of arcane damage. It is further deceptive because of on the convention of elements cycle, it's going to be benefiting from the fire rotation, not the arcane rotation. As you can see, it's separate from your character's element damage type. So, scales off of element damage type on your gear for Arcane, but on Convention of Element cycle, it's scaling off of Fire. Anyway, so for skills and gear, now that that's covered, for Solo GR, Firebirds, 6-piece, Chantoto's Will, Halo Varlies, APDs, and then Endless Walk Sec, Compass Rose, and Traveler's Pledge. Go over the rolls you want. So Int Vit CDR on shoulders, and then life percent probably for your last roll. You could have armor or all res, but I think life percent is probably the best. Firebird's helmet, Int Vit crit, Endless Walk. We have double crit, socket, and then arcane here. APDs, we have our fire, and then Int Vit crit. On most of these pieces of gear secondary, you're going to want physical if you can get it. All element types help, but physical is preferred. Doesn't matter where you have your arcane and your fire, as long as your fire is higher for your amulet and your bracers. For your chest piece, you're going to want int vit and then life percent or reduced elite damage. You could also have like armor or all resistance, but I go with life percent here. Double crit, CDR on gloves, pretty standard, and then int. For your belt, Physilis, and Probable Chain, you can notice Archon stacks vary from 40 to 50. It's probably the most important stat here by far. I would say like a 49-50 stack belt is going to be better than like a 45-46 like ancient versus non-ancient belt. It's definitely the most important stat here. But for your primaries, int vit, life percent armor or all res, I think one like this except physical resistance would be preferred. Stat-wise, for your rings, you're going to want double crit CDRs with socket. Min-max damage range is a bad alternative, but I would probably prioritize CDR over all of the other rolls. Pants, standard stuff, int vit armor, and then secondary res if you can get it. For your weapon, I would say CDR is the most important. Damage comes second, so CDR, then damage percent if you can get it. Attack speed isn't that bad, alternative-wise, although note that attack speed doesn't increase your Chantoto's pulse damage directly, but rather helps you get back into Archon form a little quicker. Chantoto's Force, you're going to want APOC, CDR, crit, it's pretty easy to get. Firebird's Boots, you're going to want Invit, Armor, All Res, or Move Speed, secondary Res. So in this case I went for move speed, physical resistance instead of all res. And then for solo skills, static discharge on Arcane Torrent. The reason we use this are the little lightning bolts that come out also can proc Chantoto's, give you more Wave of Destruction stacks, and procs Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac, which we have cubed. Explosive Blast Chain Reaction to proc our Orb of Infinite Depth. This is going to give you a huge survivability bonus because we're super squishy outside of Archon form. Ice Armor Crystallize, we need this for just raw toughness. Magic Weapon Deflection, pretty standard for sustainability. Teleport Safe Passage, important to keep this buff up. Yeah, 25% damage, less damage taken is really important outside of Archon form. Archon teleport. We need teleport, don't even bother trying any of the other reigns because we need that mobility. Passive skills, not flexible at all in this case for solo. Evocation, Unstable Anomaly, Blur, Audacity, you need all of this. You might try and get away with the Illusionist, but I wouldn't suggest even trying it. Unless you're just doing really low GRs solo. Cube, Orb, Swami, Zodiac, and that is our solo GR setup. The only other thing that's important to note is make sure you have Oculus Ring on your follower. Standing in the circles from it gives you a huge damage increase, and then obviously the cannot be killed token. For group GR, we're going to swap out Halo with Convention of Elements. We're going to change our second skill here to either Spell Steal, Black Hole. It's good to use right before going in the Archon form for the extra damage percent. Frost Nova, Deep Freeze, or Bone Shield. This is what I use in our group setup because we don't have anybody to proc my APDs other than myself. So Frost Nova, Deep Freeze. You could use something like Spark Flint if you want to be lazy. It's not that good. I would say Spell Steal probably, or Frost Nova, Deep Freeze. We can change our armor here. You could just run Crystallize, but I usually run Prismatic Armor, or you could use Force Armor. I think just all you have to change here is Furnace on the cube, and that is basically your group setup. So change your Explosive Blast to Frost Nova, your armor if desired, and then your cube to Furnace. Simple as that for group. Now you're ready. For T10, very simple as well. We're going to change our ring and our bracers. We're going to change this to Ingeom, as most T10 builds use. Avarice Band, Nemesis Bracers to spawn the Pylon group pack, and then Ingeom. Skill-wise, we're going to go back to Explosive Blast. It's still going to do significant damage. The most appealing thing about it is you can cast it while moving to get Chantoto stacks up a little quicker. And then Armor, Scramble for movement speed, because we're going to be pretty slow without teleporting around Wormhole for the extra teleport in case our Ingeom's down. And then I change Blur to Illusionist for the movement speed. And that is about it for your T10 build. Very simple to switch between all three of these builds according to what you're trying to do, which is really nice and convenient compared to most characters and setups where you have to change every single skill, every single piece of gear. All of these specs you only have to change like 5 things, if even that, depending on how lazy you want to be. So pretty simple. It is basically the skill and gear for all 3 setups, and that is about it. So thanks for watching.